Greetings, and we begin an exciting opportunity. Why? Because your presence is always an exciting opportunity for life to happen. So life is always waiting with great excitement for your presence, because that is when magic things can happen. So thank you today for your presence. It's so wonderful to open ourselves to the upper echelon of awareness. The upper echelon of awareness. Isn't that wonderful? Where we connect with our higher beingness, a higher state of being, a higher state of experience, a higher echelon of awareness. And daily life, daily realities drags us down and keeps us fumbling in the lower planes of existence, because there it's not possible to connect with the greatness of true experience. If you remember the film Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, many years ago, the children ended up in the backyard of their home on the lawn. And that lower plane of existence, just at that level in terms of the metaphor, they faced ants as big as a house. And a scorpion was even bigger. It was like the Empire State Building. And such is the lower planes of energy. It's dark and everyday encounters, things that's normal for us to encounter every day, becomes huge threatening beasts that threatens to overwhelm us and to even kill us and to end our lives. So let's begin our journey today, and let's put down what we're carrying, the words that we constantly reverberate through our own thinking mind, that becomes worries and dread and stresses and imagined, imagined, I don't want to say fatalities, but it is a form of fatality because it feels like we're dying there. So imagine them to be weights like you carry when you go and exercise in the gym to build your muscles so that you can have a beautiful physique. Imagine them like that they be weights, these things, and that you are carrying them and that you can put them down because they're heavy, and you don't have to put yourself in the state of pushing weights all the time. You're allowed to put them down. And just put them down one by one now. Imagine in your mind that, this is that worry and that's that worry. And you just put them down like beautiful state-of-the-art dumbbells, if you like. They're beautiful tools of exercise. But put them down, because worries, dreads, and stresses and all those things, they do exercise us. They make us become stronger, and they bring out wonderful things in us if we apply them correctly, that is. So right now, I think it's time for us to just relax a bit, because that's what you come here to do with me. You come here to relax your mind and to give your mind a vacation. So spend a moment or two just making yourself comfortable where you may find yourself. And then, whether you're lying down, whether you're sitting up, it's always important that when you want to communicate with a higher echelon, that your spine must be straight, because that's like Jacob's ladder, it goes all the way up to heaven. So, and may it be that one day these two temples do deliver for us to heaven. So spend a moment or two and just make yourself comfortable, and then go straight into a beautiful blue space. So like the sky, or a blue space that can be a really, really tranquil and excuse me, just a moment there. Just needed to mute someone's microphone. So it may seem like a soft blue. It may seem like an azure blue, like the color of the ocean when it's like really, really on a beautiful sunlit day. It may be a blue mist. It may be the blue sky that you look out your window that you can see now. And you may be surrounded by even bluebells, those beautiful tiny blue flowers that we are so blessed to experience and to enjoy. So whatever blue you see is good for you today. So let that blue be intense. Let it connect with your own intensity as a human. And make it a declaration that there is lovely growing things in the space of blue where you find yourself. It carries the quality of a deep and profound inner peace, but also a sense of awareness that you feel satisfied. It is your approach to your deepest innermost being, your center, your axis, that spot that remains standing, that remains powerful, no matter what happens in the wheel of life, that place. And right in the middle of your blue space, there is a small circular pond. It can even appear like a sacred well. And sit down beside your pond and enjoy the stillness. It's a stillness that feels like quiet has settled down throughout your beingness. A sense of quiet, always still and quiet. And it feels really, really good to declare that and to allow it to find you willing and available. And in the middle of the pond, right in the center, just like your own axis, there is a water lily bud, white, pink-tipped, well-earthed, as your deep-centered rooting may be. Because we all have deep-centered roots. So look carefully at the details that your conscious mind, your unconscious mind, your personal, unique unconscious reveals to you. Look carefully at the details. Good. And now imagine a slow opening of this bud. Very, very slow. And as the petals slowly open, you become aware of a blossoming happening in you, in the innermost depths of your being. Something in you is opening and coming to light today, now. And as you keep visualizing the water lily, you feel its rhythm is your rhythm. Its opening is your opening. There is a oneness and a connectedness and a strength of togetherness that feels really, really amazing. You keep watching as the lily opens to the light and to the air, showing itself in all its new loveliness. Isn't that a beautiful word? Loveliness. And you are aware of its delicate scent. The spirit of a flower is its scent. And you absorb this into your being. Good. This water lily is wide open and look at its very center and let an image emerge from there for you. This image symbolizes your need to express outwardly and creatively some aspect of your inner peace, of your inner strength, of your security, of your beauty, of your creativity, of your purpose, of your life's assignment. Allow the quality of this image to permeate your entire being. It's like the sense of soft oil that permeates every cell, every fiber of your being. It's a feeling of becoming filled. It's a permeation. It's all these beautiful things. Every aspect of your inner peace, of your strength, of your security, of your beauty, of your creativity, of your unique presence. Allow it to permeate. And it's all there, it's all yours. Let it just flow. Trust the flow. It's time now to let the water lily bud close again, protecting itself against a threatening storm maybe, or some other damage that may be present in the environment. The bud needs to close in order to protect itself. Feel your openness also quietly, gently close, just for a moment. And that you too never go unprotected. The bud will open and you open, and whenever you so choose to make contact, to connect with your own deep inner space, stay quietly by the pond for a moment, by the blue space, the soft space of expansiveness, just like our beautiful sky, the color of truth. And stay quietly by the pond for a moment, surrounded by this magnificence that is your center, your threshold, your center to your threshold, to your deepest, innermost magnificence that mostly remains closed in a tight bud and forced down by the daily events of life. Remember who you are and be glad. Now, let the images fade, and in the usual way, bring yourself gently back to your present moment consciousness, to your ordinary daily awareness, and look at what you've discovered. Perhaps you would like to express it as a drawing or a writing or a sharing in your discussion later with yourself after this experience when you integrate it. You're most welcome. We are welcomed this morning to think big. You are welcomed this morning to think big. How do you know that you're thinking big? Because you shift yourself into a knowingness as opposed to knowledge. You know, people often say when you speak to them, and some people have a habit of doing this, and when you speak to them, when I speak to them, I hear, yes, I know, yes, I know, yes, I know, yes. Or they go, yeah, because they're telling you that they know. Even my dog's looking at me. What is it that you know? So how do you know that you are, you know, that you are really thinking big? How do you know that you are in this state beyond I know? I call that a state of knowingness as opposed to knowledge. Because when you know, you rely on knowledge. You rely on things that you've read or that you've studied or that you've heard or that someone told you. But it's, you rely on knowledge. So it's like a deep sense of knowing. When you really know something, you understand it as well. You don't need to seek understanding. Versus the analysis, the analysis paralysis, where you're constantly analyzing stuff, but you never get an answer because you keep on asking why, because now you're forcing the understanding, because you think that if I understand this, I will feel better. And if I understand this, I'll be able to deal with it. And if I understand this, it won't feel so painful, or it won't feel so challenging. No, understanding doesn't deliver any of those things. Peace and acceptance does. When you make peace with what you need to deal with. Why? Because it was some choices that you've made in your past that's created for you this future self that you're now experiencing. And whatever those choices were, they're not right or wrong. They simply have a consequence that you're now living that perhaps you don't like, that perhaps you're not enjoying. But it's not someone else's fault. It's not life. It's not the financial state of the world. It's choices that you've made. Now you need to bring peace to those choices, just like the opening water lily. And you need to go to the deepest recesses of yourself to find acceptance in owning the things that you're experiencing in your life, because truly they are of your making and they are of your choice. So this morning, I want to read to you from a wonderful book that I bought many, many, many years ago. I can't count how many. I think I still bought it from the House of Isis when it was still upstairs in the Rosebank Mall. And that was when I think one of the first visits I made to House of Isis. So I'm talking a good 10 or 20 years ago. I didn't check when this book was published, but it's a long time ago. And it says, Explorations for Open Minds. It's written by Osho, and it says your answers questioned. Your answers questioned. How fabulous is that? To write a book about your answers questioned. So I'm going to read to you from this wonderful master, because I was almost initiated by him in 1987, but I chose to commit myself to my family instead. In those days, I didn't do much for myself. It was always for my family. Excuse me, I just needed to find my cloth here, where I put my elbow on my desk. So the only authentic responsibility is towards your own potential, your own intelligence, and your own awareness, and to act accordingly. Values should not be imposed on you. They should grow with your awareness in you. So he says there are two worlds to be remembered. One is reaction and one is response. Most people react, they don't respond. Reaction comes from your memory, your past experiences, from your knowledge. It's always inadequate in a fresh, new situation. I'm going to read that for you again. Reaction comes from your memory, from your past experiences, and from your knowledge. It is always inadequate in a fresh, new situation. And all of life is continuously fresh. So if you act according to your past, that is reaction. But that reaction is not going to change the situation. It's not going to change you, and it will lead to failure. Response is a moment-to-moment energy. Response is a moment-to-moment responsibility. Moment-to-moment response is a moment-to-moment deed, choice, option, opportunity. It has nothing to do with memory. You see, now I'm not quoting, now I'm talking to you as Charlotte. You see, what happens is the mind only works by association. So the mind can only function if it finds something to compare itself to hold as an opposite. You see, you can't clap with just one hand. The mind needs something in order to make the sound, to create this action, because with one hand, there's no real action. There's only pushing the air. So yeah, you need something to create that action, to create that result. The mind works by association. Going back to what Oshu says, you see the situation with clarity. You are clean, you are silent, you are serene. Out of this serenity, you then act spontaneously. It's not reaction, it is action. You have never done it before. And the beauty of it is that it will suit any situation. So I'm going to read this whole paragraph for you again. Response is moment to moment. It has nothing to do with memory. It has nothing to do with necessarily what you know. It has to do with the knowingness, the awareness, the fact that you can trust yourself because you have a knowingness. You have achieved many things in your life. You have overcome many difficulties. There's a knowingness in you that extends beyond AI, that extends beyond knowledge. Because today, knowledge has become mostly dominated by AI. And you need to go, the thinking big takes you beyond the limitations and the boundaries that the modern world is placing on your ability to think with infinite potential. So the response is moment to moment. It has nothing to do with memory. It has something to do with your awareness. You see the situation with clarity, your awareness, your open lotus. You are clean, you are silent, you are serene, undisturbed, unaffected, some people get wiped by the external circumstances. They get wiped. But when you do so with your awareness, you see the situation with clarity. You are clean, you are silent, you are serene, you are in charge. Not in control, in charge. Out of this serenity, you act spontaneously because you know what to do. You live in knowingness. It's not a reaction, it's an action. It's like the experience that you have with which you do your job every day. It's no longer necessary for you to think about every detail. You know what needs to be done. You know what needs to be done for you to put food on your table and a roof over your head. It's not reaction, it's action. You've never done it before. And the beauty of it is that it will always suit every situation. You will always have whatever you need in order to deal with whatever you've been given. I continue with Osho's words. He says, have a goal, and sooner or later you will end up on the psychoanalyst's couch. My vision, and I've lived this my whole life, and I could never understand it, and here I read it this morning for the first time, because I teach best when I need to learn most. Have a goal, and sooner or later you'll end up on the psychoanalyst's couch. My vision is that of a goalless life. That is the vision of all Buddhas. Everything simply is. For no reason at all. Everything simply is utterly absurd. It's unreason. You can't possibly understand it. It's unreason. It's utterly absurd. If this is understood, then where is the hurry? And for what? Where is the worry? And for what? I'm going to say it again. Have a goal. And sooner or later you will end up on the psychoanalysis couch. My vision is that of a goalless life. That is the vision of all the Buddhas. Everything simply is, for no reason at all. And everything simply is utterly absurd. The life that we're living in at the moment is utterly absurd. If this is understood, then there will be, where must there be a hurry to? Where is the hurry? Where is the worry? Where is the stress? And for what? Everything simply is. The really egoless person, this is Osho's word, the really egoless person, when you totally devoid of an ego. Now, that sounds, immediately your mind will go, oh my God, that's impossible, I'll never achieve that. Hold it. The really egoless person, the really egoless person is not humble at all. He is neither arrogant nor humble. He's simply himself. The really egoless person is not humble at all. She's neither arrogant nor humble. She's simply herself. I continue. The greatest obsession of all that humanity suffers from is that which should be. The greatest obsession that humanity suffers from is that which should be. It's a kind of madness. The really healthy person has no concern with that which should be. His whole concern is the immediate, that which is. And you will be surprised if you enter into the immediate. You will find the ultimate in it. If you move into that which is close by, you will find all the distant stars in it. If you move in the present moment, the whole of eternity is in your hands. Man is the only animal who is imperfect. Dogs are not imperfect. Each and every dog is a perfect dog. Cats are not imperfect. Trees are not imperfect. Rocks are not imperfect. In this whole vast existence, man is the only animal who is imperfect. And that is where his glory is. Because in imperfection, there is growth. In imperfection, there is an opening. There is an evolution. There is an opening of the bud in the center of your being. When you are perfect, there is nowhere to go. Perfection will be the suicide of humanity. Just think, what will you do when you are perfect? In the first place, it cannot happen. And in the second place, if it does happen, what will you do then? The perfectionist will be at a loss, utterly at a loss, because he knows only one way of life, and that is to go on improving, to become more, to become better. Not to have more, but to become more of who you already be. You've just forgotten. Everybody's wearing masks that are smiling, happy looking, and everybody's deceiving everybody else. You wear a mask so others think you are happier than they are. And you think others are happier than you are. And the grass looks greener on the other side of the fence. And you see the grass and it looks greener. It really looks greener, thicker, better. That is the illusion that distance creates. Just be yourself, and there is no misery. and no competition, and no worrying that others have more or that you don't have enough. I spoke about it in our last session. This disease that we always have more, we want more, and that disease breeds two very specific aspects, and that's comparisonitis and excusenitis. If you want the grass to be greener, there is no need to look on the other side of the fence. Make sure the grass is greener on your side of the fence. It's such a simple thing. But in order to make sure the grass is greener on your side of the fence, it's going to take some action. It's going to mean that you've got to water it, that you've got to give it some compost, that you've got to keep it going and open it and so it can have some air. It needs to be tended. It needs to be cared for. If one really wants to live life in all its richness, because life itself is rich. It's a rich process. It's like eating a really rich piece of cake. It's rich. Sometimes it just gets too much. It's that rich. If one really wants to live life in all its richness, one has to learn how to be inconsistent. How to be consistently inconsistent. This is Oshi's words. Interesting, isn't it? How to be able to move from one extreme to the other. Sometimes rooted deep in the earth, and sometimes flying high in heaven, and sometimes making love, and sometimes meditating, and sometimes contemplating. And then slowly your heaven and your earth will come closer and closer. That connectedness, that knowingness. And you become the horizon where they meet. Isn't that beautiful? And that's exactly how my teacher John explained the paradox to me. He said, the greater the paradox, the closer you are to the truth. And here Osho describes it as slowly your heaven and your earth comes closer and closer, and you will become the horizon where they meet. The greater the paradox, the closer you are to the truth, because here the truth finds you. Not there or there, but the truth is here. You become the horizon where heaven and earth meet. So I'm inviting you to go forward in your life from here on to be the horizon where earth and where the earth and the stars and the heavens meet. So let's continue. I have a few more thoughts to share with you. I don't want to be too long. So we've got busy days now in the southern hemisphere. We are in summer and it's festive season. So there's lots to do. So thank you so much for your presence this morning. It's a great honor. So which areas right now can do with a little extra effort in your life? Because we must never be afraid of the areas in our lives that needs a little extra effort. Where are you compromising by not thinking big? Where are you compromising by not thinking big? Which areas right now can do with a little extra effort? These areas requiring extra effort, how do they feel when you think about them? Immediately, when you think about the areas of your life that requires a little extra effort right now, immediately drops your energy. It immediately makes you feel as if you don't have the energy to attend to it, that you somehow lack in your ability to attend to it. Because if you look at the feelings that creates, some people even get ill. They get really, really ill. They go to hospital, they have an operation. Some people go to the extreme of losing their relationships. And, the areas that require a little extra effort, they just feel too much and I'm just not interested and therefore I give up. And if you look at the feelings that it creates, it's certainly not the lotus in the center of the pond. Because doing the things that you don't feel like mostly delivers what you do like. Isn't that amazing? Look at the paradox. The greater the paradox, the closer you are to the truth. You are the horizon where that meets. The things that you don't feel like and the things that you do feel like, where they meet. That becomes the place where you deliver what you do like. I'll say that again. Doing things that you don't feel like mostly delivers what you do like. So today, cure yourself of excusinitis and cure yourself of the comparisonitis that elicits the excusinitis. Because it brings forth in you your damaged self, the damaged lotus flower. You want your lotus flower to be whole and complete. It brings forth in you a damaged self. And from that damaged self, deep in the core of your being, you generate all the lower frequencies, which is going to keep you trapped and expose you to people that is going to treat you in ways that's going to make you feel not good enough, not worthy, not important enough. Because your damaged self never forgets. The mind works by association. Your damaged self remembers all the times that you were treated with such disdain, or that you were treated. It might not have been that's what it was, but that's how you've experienced it, and especially as a child. Even if your parent, your mom forgets to buy you that ice cream that she promised you, when she just forgets to buy the ice cream, you may make the decision that your mother doesn't love you. And you may live with that decision for the rest of your life. So the damaged self never forgets. It always reminds you. And the damaged self creates a hypersensitivity. This is not vulnerability. It's a hypersensitivity. There's a big difference because the hypersensitivity takes everything personal. And the hypersensitivity is hypercritical of self first and foremost, and then of others, looking at the motives of others, and takes offense at the drop of a hat and carries grudges. And you did that, and I'll pay you back, and you're going to pay for this, and I'll show you. And when you carry grudges, you become spiteful and mean, because you want to show off how right you are. You will be jealous, and you will miss me, and you will be sorry. No, there's none of that is necessary. That's all greener grass that you're looking at. That's all an illusion. Because then we choose to see the bad first, the extremes, the worst case scenarios. That's the hypersensitivity. You become hypersensitive to an environment that's already operating, as Oshu showed us as well, at a level of unreason. It's crazy. It's not the kind of stuff that you would want for yourself in your life. It's mind games, to say the least. Because everything's a game. But vulnerability is authenticity. Vulnerability is exactly as Osho describes. It's complete as it is. It's spontaneous and ready to live the moment. It's responsive. It's really ready to accept responsibility because it's ready. It's got the knowingness about its own capabilities. But the damaged self brings feelings of being totally alone, deserted, abandoned, left to die. Because some of us say, I'm dying to do this, I'm dying to do that. We're left to die. And there's a tortured reason, a tortured way of reasoning that we apply to look at things. It's torture. It's tyranny. And then comes the mistrust and the suspicion, because when you're not trusting yourself, when you don't have the ability to think of yourself with trust and with respect and dignity and honor, you become suspicious. Can I do this? Will I see it through? Have I got what it takes? Suspicion finds us every moment in life. It's also a disease, suspicionitis. The damaged self stores and holds all feelings and data until it is ready to experience it again. Because it will keep on experiencing it until the damage is healed. That's why we repeat the same things over and over again, because the damaged self won't allow you to let it go until you've healed it. It works by the mind, works by association. It's continuously going to find the stuff that hasn't been healed. And damaged self stores and holds and takes on all pain and suffering, and that forms the primal pool of pain. The primal pool of all pain, and a very large percentage of the world's population today lives and operates and experiences only their primal pool of pain. And out of this primal pool of pain rises the surge of defensiveness. That's the surge of defensiveness. Because when we look at all the storms that we just had in our own country, in the southern hemisphere, and we see all the storms that happened at the coast, there was a storm surge. And the storm surge actually created such destruction in places like Hermanus and even in Neisner, in George. There was a storm surge, and the storm surge is what causes the destruction. But it's the rise of the surge of defensiveness, because you think that you create possibilities for yourself by assuming things and having expectations beforehand. Those are not possibilities. You have long conversations in your head in this, using this formula, that you think you're creating possibilities by assuming and by having expectations of yourself, others, and life. And expectation, as you know, only delivers you to disappointment, because you can't think on behalf of life and you can't think on behalf of other people. You need to accept what is and live in the moment, to experience it, to be able to know, to have a knowingness. Now, instead, when you have these conversations in your head and you go into this thinking and assuming beforehand, you go into justification, and the justification becomes excuses, becomes blame, becomes accusers. So truth needs no justification and only respect and honor. Find the energy button and switch on today, and rise out of, rise out of this primal pool of pain that most of us occupy for the largest percentages of our lives. For whatever reason we have created it, that's where we choose to spend our life. So rise, stand out, switch on, deliver with excellence, do what needs to be done. To do what the situation is required of you. Don't look at the greener grass. The grass is green over there because I've been investing all these years, and now the grass is growing over there. And if I can just get there, then I can reap all the benefits. Now the grass is growing over there. It's all the possibilities that you're creating in your head by assuming and by having expectations beforehand. You can that's why they say, count your chickens when they hatch. You can't count the chickens in your head before they've hatched. It doesn't matter how beautiful it looks. They haven't hatched. There's no result on the table. Then justifications, excuses, blame, and accusations is not going to get you anywhere, because you constantly shift your focus by creating possibilities here that doesn't exist. They don't exist because they haven't delivered for you at all. Can't you see that? Truth needs no justification, only respect and honor. Find the energy button and switch on and deliver with excellence. Open yourself, be the lotus. Open, receive. Let that sacred fragrance of achievement, of acclaim, of delivering results that you like to look at, because when you look at the results, you like yourself. You like yourself. I'm okay. But now, when you think big, you become more than okay. You become more than okay. You become more than good. You become great. So, meditation is not something that you come here with Charlotte to do. No. Meditation is something that you are. Your life is a long meditation. Your life is a continuous visualization of the potential that you hold within yourself to deliver those results. You know, I have a wonderful client that constantly shows me the validation of this. And there's a constant validation of, this is what I intend, this is what I want to manifest, and this is the result. And it never happens the way you think. That's the magic. Because when you're thinking big, you don't have a need for yourself to be, extend yourself so that you can tell the future and you can know exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow is the unknown. You must be ready to perform and to go and to make magic in that tomorrow because of what you are and what you know and the knowingness that you carry within yourself that nobody else has. That's a walking, living meditation of your own greatness. It's something that you are. Your life is one long meditation. It's not something that you got to go sit and do, that you got to have time with. That's how you deceive yourself out of your own connectedness, out of your own greatness. You can be in deep meditation. Excuse me, just a moment. These cold days that we have, the mind likes to work by association, by remembering the cold days with lungs that cough all the time, just like in winter. So put things into perspective. Put things into perspective by realizing how trivial most things are that you occupy yourself with and that occupy large percentages of your day. You know, I laughed the other day. I listened to Sadhguru. He's so funny. He says, now I always think of myself as a delinquent, and as someone who did terrible things when I was younger. And there's many of the things that I won't necessarily share, publicly of what I got up to, even when I was still in school. So, I don't sit here in judgment of you. I've lived it. I have lived it. I can tell you one day when I leave this body, I can say, oh, my boy, I did it, making triple somersaults. Even if I can't make it in real life, I made it on other planes. So, realize how trivial most things are. So, Sadhguru says, the first time someone put the calculator in his hand, and he could go 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 8, 5, 6, 7 and get an answer. He said that was the last day he went to school. He says, because if there's a machine that can do this for me, I don't have to sit in school for 6, 7 hours a day in order to learn how to do this. The machine can do it for me. And he's got no tertiary education. He hasn't studied, and look where he is today. He's just applied himself. So realize how trivial most things are and remind yourself every day. With perspective, your life is guaranteed to be smoother and more manageable. Now, my word for perspective is context. What context are you giving to your life? That's the meaning that you attribute to whatever it is that you're going through. What perspective, what meaning do you give what you're looking at? What is your inner lotus releasing at that moment? In what ways are you giving your inherent spirit of adventure and desire for exploration free rein? Are you limiting it with those energies that drag you down, or are you allowing and inviting energies in your life that allows your spirit to feel like it's free and it's flying? You know, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, you know, he pushed us to the edge and we were afraid, and he brought us to the edge and we were afraid, and he pushed us and we flew. So please, I'm not advocating that you must go stand on the edge and fly, please. I'm just quoting Jonathan Livingston Seagull, which was written by Richard Bach. Just clarifying. So what kind of relationships, you know, are you actually, what kind of relationships are you actually administering? What are you, the relationship that you administer is, how do you administer yourself as a relationship to others? I know I'm like a bulldozer. There's no question about it. I tell people off and I say, especially if you keep on pushing me, I'm very patient. But when you get me to a place where I really am now, I've had enough, then that's it. So then I become principally rude. Or I will be perceived as rude because I'm actually speaking the truth, but I'm very loud when I do. I'm loud as it is. So I always have to remind myself all the time, speak softer, speak softer. My father was deaf, so I learned to speak at the highest possible level of volume all the time. So otherwise my ear got pulled or I got pinched if I didn't speak loud enough. My father could hear me. So what kind of relationship? Is it principally competitive? Is it brotherly, sisterly? Is it friendly? Is it, you know, distant? Is it, let me just get done what I'm doing here so that I can leave? You know, what is it? What is the principle that you applying? So what kind of relationships do you want to administer going forward? You know, there's a clash between your logical mind and your heartfelt yearnings. You feel that clash daily. There's what needs to be done, and there's all the stuff that you're really yearning to do. And you know, when will it be my turn? And when can I do what I need to do? I'm afraid it doesn't work like that here on earth. Don't look at somebody else's life and think, oh, I wish I could do that, or I wish I could be like that. No, there's no such thing. The grass isn't greener. Your heart is pulling you in one direction and your mind pulls you in the other direction. And that's how it works here. Remember, where the sky and the earth meet, there's the horizon and you are that horizon. So you're always going to feel this pull. You know, you're going to be pulled in all directions. It's how it works here. But don't let this create the inner wall that you live with, that you're feeling all the time. Is it this, is it that? Must I do this? Must I do that? Must I choose this? Must I choose that? That's what Oshi said. You know, just let it be. I can't remember the exact words now, but it was something in that vein. I'm not a good name dropper. So the only authentic responsibility is toward your own potential, your own intelligence, your own awareness, and to act accordingly. Value should not be imposed on you. They should grow with your awareness in you. Your value should grow with your experience of yourself in how you administer your presence, how you share your presence with others. So if you now extend your awareness just in this moment to your veins and your arteries, because you must trust the flow. Extend your awareness to your veins and your arteries and feel the blood circulating through your heart to the rest of your body. It's happening, but you can't even feel it. It's such a phenomenal, I mean, if that stops happening, your body no longer functions. So just feel the blood circulating through your heart to the rest of your body, and let that take you to your sacred blue room where you can be with your beautiful pond, your sacred deepest innermost well of your being, and in the center the divine lotus. So if you feel the blood circulating through your heart to the rest of your body, notice that your heart does speed up or down. It's not a bad thing, it's how it works. It's not always going to be on the same speed. It's like your car. You got to go through different gears. So sometimes your heart's going to feel like a little bit boof, 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 boof. But, start thinking of yourself as wonderful and healthy. Think big. Because excusinitis, one of the biggest excusinitis, disease is health, is being sick, is being ill, and having to have various ailments that manifest in your body. Please, at the moment, I'm at the worst that I've ever been in my life. There's something different happening, cancel in my life every day in terms of how ill I'm feeling. Perhaps I'm giving myself the experience so I could talk about it. I don't know. Perhaps it's just old age. So the other thing that I invite you to do is to stand in front of the mirror and talk to your damaged self and make amends and promise to be there and to care for your damaged self, because it's real. It's a part of you that was damaged by other people's actions, by places, being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I don't know, all those things that we throw around in terms of our excusinitis. But those are things that happen to you anyway. So it doesn't help to find out why. You now need to deal with them because they're there. So stand in front of the mirror and talk to the damaged self and make amends and promise. Give your word. Your word is your honor. And say, yeah, I don't know I'm going to do this, but I'm going to be there for you, damaged self, and I'm going to care for you. So, because it really does need a lot of reassurance and appreciation, that part of you. That's why reassurance and appreciation is such a valuable energy to apply in our life at the moment. So I'm now going to quote in closing. I'm going to quote Louise Hay, and it's from, I don't know which book it is from. I have several of her books, but it's from one of her books, and it says, in order to be whole, we must accept all of ourselves. So let your heart open and make plenty room. Make plenty of room in there for all the parts of yourself, the sacred lotus. The parts of you are the parts you are proud of, and the parts that embarrass you too. The parts you reject and the parts you love too. They are all of you. You are beautiful. We all are. When your heart is full of love for yourself, then you have so much to share with others. Your presence is something that you administer then. And she continues to say, let this love now fill your room and permeate out to all the people that you know. Put the people you want in the center of your room, of your heart vault, if you like, so that they can receive the love from your overflowing heart, from your child to theirs. Now see all the children and in all the people dancing as children dance, skipping and shouting and turning somersaults and cartwheels and filled with exuberant joy. Imagine if we just spent, each one of us, just 3 minutes a day to see the whole planet, all the peoples on it, dancing as children dance, skipping and shouting and turning somersaults and cartwheels, and just filled with exuberant joy, expressing all the best of the child within. And let your child go and play with the other children, and let your child dance, and let your child feel safe and free, and let your child be all that it ever wanted to be. You are whole and you are complete. It is well in your wonderful world. And so it is, and so it has always been. It's been a beautiful moment, a few moments I shared with you this morning. Thank you so much. And I'm absolutely surprised that we are all here by the grace. And what a wonderful way to say goodbye to you this morning, to simply say, think big. Just think big and experience your own greatness. Thank you so much for being here. It was absolutely awesome to see all of you. I know that you're all in the background thing. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.